Judy, can you feel it? It's the changing of the seasons.
William, like this guy, we laugh at the change of seasons.
We have something to cheer you up, a new episode of Garden Time. Welcome to Garden Time. We are out here at Blooming Junction, and truly it is the changing of the seasons. In fact, we're going to talk to Ron later on in the show about some great plants they have for this time of year.
And also coming up in the show, we'll be talking about reblooming iris.
But coming up first, fall hydrangea care. Well, it's my pleasure to be with Kristen Van Hoos out at Hydrangeas Plus. And Kristen, it's this time of year that we need to begin thinking about the fall and winter care for our hydrangeas, because it's hard to do. You see them right now, they're in such beautiful blooms, they're just lush and full, but you want to protect them for the winter.
That's right. Well, and a lot of people are nervous to prune.
Yeah.
It's scary because you do it wrong and you may not have blooms the next spring.
But, you know, on the good side, that's the worst that could happen if you prune
That's
wrong.
right.
You'll miss a year of blooms. You're not going to kill the plant by pruning it wrong, though.
No.
So you know that if it's one or the other, better to prune wrong and still have the plant alive and bloom again than to let it get out of control. Because we've all seen hydrangeas that are like 7 foot tall, out of control.
As big as the house. And sometimes you do just have to cut them off and let them recover and not have blooms if they're that big.
Yeah.
If you forget to prune every year, you may have a 7 foot plant.
Well, now before you go into specifics on how to prune correctly for blooms every year, is there a difference in like a hydrangea in a pot? Would you prune that differently than the ones in the ground?
No, I wouldn't prune it differently.
So pretty much all the same principles.
Yes.
Well, all right.
Especially around here. If you live in a colder area, I would maybe bring the container hydrangea into the garage. The plants in the ground should be fine.
Yeah. Because, you know, we do have some odd weather every once in a while in the winter. Like,
Have we
you know,
even had a normal year?
It's been a while, hasn't it? But you do want to pay attention to that. So if it's dropping below, let's say 15 degrees, you might want to think about either wrapping it or popping it in the garage then
That's
for
right.
a little extra protection.
Definitely.
Now, on this one, we have a specimen here. You're going to show us how we would go about pruning effectively for next year's blooms.
Correct. And this is a macrophylla. Most of the macrophyllas bloom on old wood and new wood. I don't treat old wood, new wood macrophyllas any differently than each other, just because once you purchase it, they do similarly. Their leaves are exactly the same,
yes.
So you really can't tell. So I still prune on the green part. That's really the trick when it comes to macrophyllas, is cut somewhere on this green part, here and here and here. Try to avoid anything that's woody.
So anything that's already turned to wood, can you just cut that out then to clean it up?
If it's totally dead all the way down. Your plant is probably bigger than this, so there will be some brown woody part and then green growth. And so don't cut back onto the woody part, because most hydrangeas bloom on old wood.
Sure.
And so you need that old wood to survive the winter for it to bloom the next year.
And so if this, what do you do then when you're looking at it? Do you have to worry about, like people take about roses, you know, they give you a specific amount to cut down to. Do you worry about the nodes on the green part, or can you just go ahead and cut as low as you want to?
I worry about the nodes.
Okay.
I try to leave at least 1 or 2 when I prune. Since this is a very young plant, the nodes aren't going to be as pronounced as they would be on one that you would see in your own garden.
And just for clarification, by nodes, we mean this little thing that looks like almost like a wristband around the plant.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. And I try to leave at least 2 of those because those are going to be your branches next year.
Okay.
And so the winter will make that part stem green, go from green to woody. Mm-hmm. And so the new growth is going to be what the hydrangea is going to bloom on.
Okay. So for an example on this one here, Kristen, I would assume that each one of these is considered a node. Correct. So there's like 4 on here.
Right. So I would either cut right here and leave 1 and then this branch, or maybe even down here if I needed to take the plant back a little bit. This is a very young plant, so we would probably cut here.
Because, share with me if it's the same principle as other things. You can also prune for the height of the plant. So if you want a bigger plant, you would cut up higher.
Yes, you
can. And if you want it lower, you could cut down lower on the
And
nodes.
it also depends on the ultimate size of the cultivar.
Sure.
You know, some of the small dwarf varieties, there's just maybe 2 or 3 inches between the leaf nodes.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's a little bit bigger of a plant, so you have a little more distance. So you can't just say cut off 3 feet of your plant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you know, there's so many hydrangeas and they're all so beautiful in the garden, and it can be a little bit daunting to think about how to prune them correctly. No place better to go than out here at Hydrangeas Plus and talk to Kristen about it. Thank you so much, and I guess I'll be getting home to prune my own hydrangeas now.
Sounds great.
Build a beautiful home inside and out at French Prairie Perennials. Inside, we have just the right creative elements to complete your decor. We offer an oasis of unusual, nature-inspired garden and home gifts and accessories. Outside, choose from our wide selection of unique dwarf conifers and sparkling companion plants. French Prairie Perennials, located between Woodburn and Wilsonville. Take exit 278 to Aurora and French Prairie Perennials.
Every year, trees fall or break, causing property damage, power outages, and injury.
Now is the time for Bartlett Tree Experts and Collier Arbor Care to get your trees ready for the extreme conditions ahead.
Our free consultation will help to spot the signs of potentially hazardous trees.
We can help address problems before they occur. Whether it's trees or shrubs, we can help you get a healthy and beautiful garden.
Collier Arbor Care and Bartlett Tree Experts, providing environmentally safe tree care since 1907.
Fall is a time to think of planting and planning. Planting new plants now will help them get a jump start on next year. Black Gold All-Purpose can help your plants get ready for winter and next spring. Formulated with a blend of natural and organic nutrients, it contains everything your plants and spring bulbs need for a happy and healthy start. Look for Black Gold All-Purpose at your local garden center or nursery. Black Gold, all the riches of the earth.
A destination farm and garden market featuring the very best each season has to offer. Smith Berry Barn offers seasonal farm fresh fruits and vegetables and specialty herbs and perennials. Visit the historic barn for distinctive gifts, gourmet foods, and homemade milkshakes. Right now we have fresh picked or pick your own berries ready in our fields. Here's what we have to offer this week. Centrally located off of Shoals Ferry Road between Sherwood and Hillsborough, Smith Berry Barn, growing good taste from the ground up.
Well, it's a breezy morning out here at Blooming Junction in Cornelius, and I'm with Ron. And so, Ron, it's fall, getting to be fall, and so why is it so important to plant in the fall?
Well, you know, if you consider planting in fall, kind of getting a jump on spring. You know, plants are still growing, they're still setting roots. You have all that free water in the winter and early spring. So you get yourself a really good start, which also helps with you know, plants that are drought tolerant because they've set roots already. You're not constantly fighting the warm spring and summer planting problems that you usually have. You know, where you're out there trying to keep that plant going.
Right, right.
So you really get quite a jump on it, and you'll see your plant actually double in size compared to the one you would plant in spring.
Oh, that is a good idea. So good tip from Ron here. And really going to a garden center this time of year, there's still beautiful plants and showing fall interest, which sometimes we're missing in our gardens. So tell us about this lovely collection.
Yeah, now's a good time. Things are just starting to take on kind of their fall appearance. Starting over from our right side here, we have the barberry Sun Joy Gold. This is a columnar plant. It's beautiful right now.
So bright.
But in fall and early winter, it's going to take on a very red color.
Oh, nice.
So you got that double duty, you know. Do I want red? Do I want
gold?
chartreuse?
Right.
You get them both.
And then hydrangeas. This one still has beautiful flowers on it.
Yeah, and this is a preciosa, and this one here is beautiful on its own with the flowers that it has. These are a little bit past their prime.
Still pretty.
But the foliage takes on just
Nice.
a beautiful color in fall.
Pretty, and pretty stems too.
Right.
And then sedums are really coming into their own, the tall sedums.
Right, the tall sedums right now are great. They're all budded up. This one's Elsie's Gold. It's going to get really nice dark pink flowers over it. Great for late season forage for bumblebees.
Nice, oh very nice. And then I love these two together. So what are these two?
This is the Solidago Little Lemon. This one's just starting to bloom. This is a wonderful foundation plant.
Nice.
Great color, that sulfur yellow.
And this beautiful blue one, what is that?
This is a plumbago,
Pretty.
a hardy plumbago. In addition to the beautiful cobalt blue flowers, this turns a very bronzy color.
Very nice.
In the fall.
I like these two together with that contrast. That's
Yeah,
very nice.
yeah.
And then ornamental grasses, excuse me, are really coming into their own.
Exactly. They're all starting to get the nice color and their heads on them. This is burgundy bunny. The whole plant's going to take on this burgundy color.
Pretty.
So it adds some really nice interest to your yard.
So do you think that this should be cut back before the winter, or do you leave them up?
No, I tend to leave them up. Grasses with seed heads do provide a little bit of forage for animals.
Oh, that's true too. Yep.
Yeah, and you know, I tell you, some of the nicest grasses I've seen are ones with frost on them.
Oh, that is pretty.
Spider webs, you know, that morning dew.
Very nice.
I tend to leave them up.
All right. And then asters, time for asters this time of year?
That's right, and this one is
Woods blue?
Woods blue. This is just getting ready to bloom pretty soon here in the next couple of weeks. Asters have been around for a long time. That's a tried and true variety.
Lots of blue, another blue one.
Lots of blue. This is Caryopteris. This takes on a nice yellow color, the foliage. It's just been starting to bloom now, so it'll bloom for a few more weeks.
Very nice. And then this is Amsonia.
Amsonia, blue star. This takes on a beautiful gold color in the fall. It's a little leggy when it's young.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it gets a small little blue flower, but I tell you, it's the fall foliage that really sells this plant.
Pretty. And then a little collection of shrubs here.
Right. This is Nandina Pink Blush. This has a blush of pink throughout the whole season, but it turns a nice brilliant red in the summertime or in the wintertime.
Beautiful. And then one front here.
Abelia kaleidoscope.
Nice.
These are going to really intensify the colors of this, which is really when it's at its prime. That's
Very
why
nice.
it's called kaleidoscope. Just the
All
multiple
different colors.
Yeah.
And then this with the berries. What is that?
This is a viburnum brandywine. This gets about as tall as me, about as wide. You can prune it back if you have a smaller yard, but these
Beautiful.
berries will turn pink and blue and hold on for quite a while.
Wow. And then fall color too.
Yes,
Beautiful.
nice red fall color.
Now, Ron, we're going to get into fall color in trees too. So what is this beautiful one
This
here?
is Nyssa savatica green globe. It has a nice pyramidal shape. It's not necessarily a small tree, about 40 feet, but it takes on just this brilliant red color as indicated by this leaf.
It is nice, and we love to have that in a garden.
Yeah,
That would be so
yeah.
wonderful.
I tell you, that's one of the things about fall I love the best, is the color.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know, we're getting into that season where everything's going to be changing colors, that wonderful glow that's along the hillside and in our garden and landscape. So come on out to Blooming Junction, see what Ron has out here, and then really enjoy your gardens and put some more plants in. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Is your garden in need of refreshment? Hi, I'm Sarah, and there are plenty of things in bloom at Portland Nursery. Come check out our beautiful fall color to perk up your garden. At Portland Nursery, we consider fall the second season, and the gardening opportunities are endless. Establish next year's trees, replace lettuce and greens, or get a jump on onions and garlic. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people, on 50th and Stark and 90th and Division, or at portlandnursery.com.
Standard TV and Appliance asks, what do you want in new appliances?
Do you want GE's gas, electric, convection, induction, stainless steel, Slate, French door, Energy Star, top load, front load, high efficiency, or huge capacity?
I want it all. Yeah, I want everything.
Refresh and save with GE Cafe. Upgrade your kitchen and save up to $1,500 when you buy 4 GE Cafe appliances. Standard TV and Appliance.
Little Baja is your source for a whole lot of terracotta and concrete too. From bird baths and benches to Buddhas, bears, and fountains, plus the exclusive Baja chimney. We have an amazing variety of the finest in terracotta and concrete containers. Come check out our selection of statuary for any garden theme or setting. So for something for the garden, deck, or patio, come see us at Little Baja on East Burnside in Portland. Find us on Facebook too.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature Blooming Advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
Well, I am here with Steve Schreiner from Schreiner's Iris Gardens. And Steve, normally when we're here, we're out in those fields. They're filled with blooms. It's so beautiful. But today, they're not really filled with blooms. And yet, here's a whole bunch of blooms because we're going to be talking about reblooming irises.
That's right, William. Thank you very much for coming. Yes, we do have, starting in July, a number of varieties that are rebloomers. And this reblooming phase carries on well into autumn.
Now, there's really nothing... There's nothing special in the sense of what a gardener can do to make varieties rebloom. There's specific varieties that do rebloom, though. Actually, so if you don't have those, they're not going to rebloom.
That's true. If you don't have the varieties that are reblooming, they're not going to rebloom. But the ones that do rebloom, you can help them perform better by cleaning, trimming the leaves, and so forth, cutting the bloom stalk, after they bloom, fertilizing and watering them again after they bloom, and watering them about once a month, as well as planting them in full sun. That'll help them rebloom.
So really, and there's several varieties. It's not just 2 or 3 that do rebloom. So to give them an idea of some actual ones that are really blooming in your fields right now, let's just start over here and talk about some of them.
Okay, there are some varieties, and we can tell you more about which ones those are that are outstanding rebloomers, because keep in mind you're only going to be buying one. So you want a variety that has a high percentage of reblooming in your geographical area, because that makes a difference. This is Total Recall, and this one right here is Stellar Lights. These are high performing rebloomers for us, so that means in this geographical area. And you have a couple more too.
Well, and while I'm pulling these out, Steve, by high rebloomers, you mean that 30% more of the time or more, they're actually going to be reblooming
right,
each
like
year.
Total Recall here, right now it's reblooming. Every one of them out in the field is reblooming. It looks just like May.
Well, this one is Mother Earth, this one is Cantina,
right.
And you know, one of my favorite, well, I say this all the time, but it is one of my favorite fragrances in spring is irises. And now with rebloomers, you can have them this late in the year too, because we're, middle of August here.
That's right. You can have your fragrance and sniff it too.
That's right. Very true. Now, I would assume then that once these have done their reblooming, the preparation that you would take for all irises is the same going into winter, though.
That's right.
What are some of those tips?
That's right. The preparations you would make is, of course, once they're reblooming for the final time, cut the bloom stalk off, and then as fall approaches, the end of September, to remove the dead leaves, trim the leaves down. They're going to die off anyway, but a clean garden is a healthy garden, and that's pretty much all you need to do, unless it's that every 3 or 4 years when they're getting so crowded you need to dig them up, divide them, space them out again.
Which, really, we should be doing to all of our irises anyway, about every 4 years when they're really tight. So
that's right. And when
there's nothing special to do to these to get them to rebloom then, just maintenance of the plant.
Well, that's true, but the fertilizing and watering, again, after they bloom, and also, I think I forgot to tell you, dig them up and divide them every 1 to 2 years with rebloomers, not every 3 to 4 years. That'll help. The less crowded they are, the better performing they are. Yeah.
Well, they're absolutely beautiful. Now, there is several varieties that you can choose from that'll make this happen. You can go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to the website. Certainly, if you live in the Northwest, these varieties here, they know are going to rebloom about 30% of the time. But if you live elsewhere in the U.S., give Shriners a call and talk to them, and their expert people here will certainly give you the best advice possible. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you so much, William. It's always great to see you. Thank you very much.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
They had to take the car, they had to get it open with the jaws of life, take me out on a backboard, took me to a Trauma One center. I absolutely feel like the Subaru saved my life.
Well, we trust Capital. We trust our salesperson here, Jackie.
Jackie's great. I believe that she really cares about us.
She teaches me about the Subaru.
Our way on the Parkway.
Extend your growing season and escape to your own garden retreat in a Solex greenhouse from the Greenhouse Catalog. There is nothing like the taste of a bright, red, juicy, homegrown tomato. The bright, warm, durable design of a Solex greenhouse provides plenty of room to nurture your plants and enjoy your passion for years. Choose from 5 Solex greenhouse models or build your own with Solex panels. For all your gardening, greenhouse, and specialty growing needs, visit greenhousecatalog.com or give us a call.
The health and beauty of your garden starts from the ground up, and healthy soils begin at Grimm's Fuel. For the best in garden mulch, blended soils, and bark dust, choose Grimm's. U-Haul delivered or installed, Grimm's can do it. And if you're looking for a new lawn, Grimm's can do that too with our special lawn installation service. Grimm's is also the area's largest recycler of yard debris. The foundation for a healthy garden begins at Grimm's Fuel.
To bring the extraordinary colors of fall to your landscape, you need to come to a place that offers more than the ordinary. At Sagawa Nursery, we love fall. From brilliant yellows to vibrant reds, we have one of the Northwest's largest selections of Japanese maples. At Sagawa Nursery, we also have a colorful selection of hardy plants, so your home can be as beautiful as the season. Come visit us and see how we can help you make your season extraordinary. Sagawa Nursery, growing beyond the ordinary.
September is tomato time, and a great place to come to a Smith Berry Barn. And Joelle, you have some recipes to kind of extend the wonderful flavors of the harvest of tomatoes.
We do. We are going to be freezing tomatoes today, and we're also going to be roasting tomatoes. And we offer quite an array of heirloom tomatoes. This is a selection of some of our varieties. And we also do standard slicing tomatoes and Roma, a lot of different kinds of Romas actually. And so that's what we're going to be working with today are the Roma varieties. This is actually San Marzano, which is a very popular one. And we're going to show how to just very easily pop them in the freezer.
Oh, no, that is too easy because as a child, I remember a many-day process of actually canning them. So this is really easy, and you're not even cooking them before you're putting them in the freezer bag.
We're not cooking. So today we're just going to, we're coring them, taking out the little stem, and then we're popping them into a freezer bag. The goal here is just to get them quickly into the freezer, and then later we will decide what, how we're going to cook them and care for them.
And so if we wanted to do that extra step, because when you do it like this, you do have the skins on them. And so here comes December and I want to do something with my tomatoes, I still have to skin them.
Exactly. So what you'll do is you'll take them out of the freezer, you'll run them under warm water, and then the skins will slip right off.
Ah, okay.
If you do decide that you want to blanch them, take the skins off first, you'll be blanching them, which is about 1 minute in boiling water, and then you transfer them to an ice water bath, and then you slip the skins off.
Ah, all right. And then you just put them into the freezer bag, or I know I've done that too. I put them on a cookie sheet so they're frozen individually. So when I take them out, they're not a solid block.
Exactly. So just like we do with our berries in this berry season, we take a cookie sheet and we freeze them individually and then pop them into the bags. Exactly.
All right. Well, you know, I am in this lovely kitchen and I am smelling wonderful roasting tomatoes.
Exactly. That's what we're doing next. So we'll take these same tomatoes and we will do a similar, similar process where we take the core, we will slice them in half.
Ah, okay.
And we've laid them onto a cookie sheet here with a little bit of olive oil.
All right.
Also, I wanted to show if you do get a tomato that has the what we call blossom end rot or any blemishes, you want to make sure you take those off, but also recognize that it's just fine to use a tomato that has that. They're still very good. You just cut that off. Oops, I didn't get my
No problem.
Core.
But I'm also smelling herbs, and I know you have herbs here at the farm, but I'm smelling herbs and garlic too, so you do add a little bit here.
Exactly. So what we'll do, face down with our halves of tomatoes, we're going to add a little bit more olive oil.
Okay.
Excuse me. Salt and pepper.
So really, it's making it a nice, almost a flavorful sauce while you're roasting it.
Exactly.
And I love this garlic grater.
So this is our handy little garlic slicer.
That is great.
And a little salt.
You make it look so easy.
And then we're going to go into the oven for about 2 hours, a 325-degree oven for about 2 hours, which will blend all the flavors and make them nice and roasted and toasty, enrich the flavors. The flavors will become richer. And then we will can or freeze or make sauce with those.
And so we're going to come back in just a couple minutes. It's finishing up in the oven. So we'll see you in a minute. So Joelle, the roasted tomatoes are finished now and we're ready to kind of mill them. They look beautiful. So how long about did we have them in the oven?
We had them for about 2 hours. You kind of just start watching them when they get that nice browned, toasty look and bubbling, and the aroma, obviously. You can tell that they're getting nice and tasty. So what we've done is we have put them into our food mill. This is going to take the skins off, grind up some of the herbs, and make a nice puree. And I use the fine sieve on mine.
So that'll make a nice pulp.
Exactly.
That'll be out in the bottom of the bowl.
Right.
That is beautiful. But if I don't have a food mill at home, is there another way that I could do that?
So you can see, if you look closely, you can see that the skins have just kind of bubbled right up. It's very easy to pull them off. And then we could just take this and directly put it into our jars for freezing, or you could hand mash it if you wanted to do that. Exactly. So this is our pureed sauce, and we're going to go straight into our canning jar.
And this is the same kind of canning jar you would use if you were doing traditional canning.
Exactly. So the idea with freezing into canning jars is you want to make sure you leave enough head space to allow for the expansion during freezing.
Right.
This looks a little bit too high. I would take a little bit out. We want a ½ inch to an inch. It grows a little bit when it freezes. And then you go ahead and seal it and put it in your freezer for 8 to 12 months.
Make sure you mark it so you know that date.
Exactly.
That's always important.
Exactly.
You know, this is a great time to have tomatoes, so come out to Smith Berry Barn. Make sure you pick them. They have beautiful ones for canning or fresh eating. And come see Joelle and her staff and for all the information that you need. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We want to thank you for watching today, and we want to say thanks to Blooming Junction for letting us hang out with them and Willow the cat.
And as always, if you have more questions about today's show, you can always go to gardentime.tv.
William and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week here on Garden Time.
Fall in the Northwest is
the best time of year to plant, with warmer soils and cooler evenings.
A time to spend with family and friends.
Fall is a time to celebrate.
To decorate.
And to enjoy the colors that are only found here in our area.
Fall is a time to come to Garland Nursery.
And let us show you all that fall can be.
Garland Nursery, inspiring beautiful and bountiful gardens.
The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.